Hey guys, today I'm talking action movies because I'm going to be doing an overview of this, Feng Shui 2 by Robin D. Laws. Cue music!
We need some action if we're gonna make it like a true survivor. We need some action if we wanna take our love away from here. We need a living passion to believe in, burning hearts and a brand new feeling. Action if we're gonna make it like...
So, Feng Shui 2 is the sequel and spiritual successor to the original Feng Shui game, also by Robin D. Laws, which came out in 1996. As I said before, it's an action movie game, with its primary focus being the Hong Kong action movie market. So everything from Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, all the way through to things like Hard Boiled, and also other Asian movies like, more recently, The Raid. So with a scope that wide, it allows for a lot of different characters, from ancient Chinese wizards and sorcerers and kung fu masters through to maverick cops and a whole lot of other weird and wonderful things in between. It also has, in the Metaplot game, a futuristic setting, so you can have cyborgs in the future, or even cybernetically enhanced monkeys, because apparently that's a thing. Now, the original game shares a universe with a card game called Shadow Fist, and in this joint universe they share is the idea of what's called the Feng Shui sites, which are sites of powerful chi energy, and this is the sort of the key point of the game, is that these various groups and factions throughout history, both past, present and future, are fighting for control of these Feng Shui points in order to expand their power and further push their own agendas. So there are groups like the Eaters of the Lotus, which are a group of ancient Chinese sorcerers. There's the Jammers, which are the aforementioned cybernetic apes in the future, as well as groups like the Archetypes of the Flesh, who basically use science and occultism to create cyber demons and stuff like that. Because of the nature of the time travel stuff, there is not only the possibility of different genres, but it's possible to have multiple characters in the same genre. And as an action movie game, the focus is very much on combat, so every different type of character from the different junctures, which is the sort of time zones they have, has their own shticks, which are their stunts, their special abilities. Which is really cool because it allows your archer to not just be good at archery, but to be able to do the sort of trick shots you might see Hawkeye do. Your transformed animals, which are maybe, say, crab spirits or even dragon spirits in human form, have supernatural powers based on what they once were. There's a whole host of martial arts and guns, shticks. The only downside with this stunt-based system is it does sometimes lead to a bit of one-upmanship, because people do try and out-stunt each other, which I have seen can make the game go a bit kind of comedy. Now, I love a Jackie Chan movie as much as anybody else, but I think, you know, Feng Shui definitely has a scope to be quite a serious game. So there are some changes now with this new second edition, which are quite nice. First and foremost, the most obvious one is that the book is somewhat thicker than before, and like many games these days, we're treated from what was a game that just had colour cover and maybe a few colour insets, and then mostly being black and white, to full colour book all the way through with lots of cool artwork, especially on all the different the preset character archetypes there. There's full character images for all of those. That's one of the things that's quite interesting about Feng Shui, and I suppose makes the game quite easy for new players to come in, is that the fact they've got these preset archetypes that you only have to do a little bit of tweaking with and then you're ready to run. So it lacks the diversity of a completely blank slate that some other roleplay games would give you, but it because it relies on those sort of film tropes and those kind of characters you see in a lot of films and TV series. It allows you to kind of go in and think, right, I want to play the cyborg from the future, a la the Terminator, or I want to play a Chinese sorcerer, or whatever the character is. There's probably a pre-made character concept there for you, so it speeds up things quite nicely. I think a lot of people, because they don't necessarily kind of get that sort of their head round or find good examples of it, because they find that trying to find a genre that, or a film that encapsulates a bit of everything is difficult. I would definitely recommend going to see Big Trouble in Little China. I mean, that is literally, you've got Kurt Russell's character, who's the every hero. That's a character concept in there. His best friend is a martial artist. The villain, David Lopan, is an ancient Chinese sorcerer. It's a great template for what Feng Shui can do. One of the other things they've changed with this new version as well is they've simplified a lot of the stats. In the previous version there were like 5 different stats, each with their own substats, which they've really kind of cut that down. Now you have your attack value, or primary attack value, so they've taken a bunch of skills and made them stats really, because they're key to each kind of character. Some characters get a secondary stat, so if you're good at guns and martial arts, you'll have both. But generally your attack types are martial arts, which is everything hand-to-hand and melee. Guns, which as well as guns also covers other ranged weapons like bows or crossbows. Sorcery, well, that's pretty self-explanatory, it's all the sort of magical type stuff. Creature powers, which is any kind of supernatural creature. So if you're playing a werewolf or a vampire, then you have creature powers. Transformed animal powers, again, this is the idea of these ancient sort of spirit beasts trapped in human form. So you've got things like crab spirits, dragon spirits. And the final 2 are scrounger tech, which is any sort of futuristic weaponry, and what are called gene powers. And gene powers literally allow you to have mutants from the future, so you can do an X-Men style game if you wanted to as well. The other thing, as well as those, then the rest of your stats are your toughness, your defense value, and your fortune. Now, your fortune is your luck, but it's loosely broken down into a couple of different subtypes. Again, this depends on the different types of character you play. For instance, some characters, instead of having fortune, will have magic. This is particularly relevant if you're playing a character who uses sorcery. You need the magic. Genome points, again, if you're playing a mutant, you have genome points because you're not lucky, you just have a genetic advantage, which you can use. And chi, which is, for any character that wants to do the superpowered kind of Dragon Ball Z style fireballs, then you need chi. So that they've definitely made this new version of the game a little bit easier in terms of character creation, because the last one, you were given your template, you were given so many points, and then you're like, well, which substats do I need? Now, you're going to look at the archetype and you're going to know that you've got all the bits and pieces you need, and it's just a matter of adjusting skills, which is really nice. I'm definitely going to run a couple of test games of this, so I'll be able to give you a bit more feedback on how the new system plays. I'm really glad about this though, because, I love action movies. Who doesn't? And the great thing with a game like this is that you have a great excuse to go and watch a lot of action movies. I literally was reading through the book again the other day whilst watching a Japanese martial arts movie. And I'm probably going to watch more because, as I said, I want to run a game like this soon. The couple of the extras that you can also, I think you can still buy the extras, because the book is obviously, I got mine through Kickstarter. They did a set of 6, or 6 dice in total, but they're just red and white, which is to represent the two different coloured dice they recommend in the book, because one of your dice should be positive, one should be negative. This is how their dice rolling mechanic works. But I think the dice are quite nice and stylistic. The sixes kind of look like you've just punched a concrete wall, and the ones have a little bit of a canna on them as well, so that's pretty cool. I think, as you know, some games do dice and they're a bit run of the mill, but these are definitely standard D6. You know, there's nothing unusual with symbols, but it's just done in a quite nice and stylish way. One of the other extras that was on the Kickstarter, which I wish I'd gone for, was the shot tracker. The shot tracker is basically your initiative sheet, and you can literally work out who's acting at what stage of the initiative. This is quite useful because in an action movie game, most characters will get to act more than once as you work your way down from 20. There is a book as well that accompanies this called Blowing Up the Movies, which the creator Robin D. Laws wrote, which is literally a dissection of kind of action movies and how they translate into roleplay games. So I'm definitely going to try and get hands on a copy of that. I think I might have got a PDF through backing the Kickstarter, so I'll have to check that. I could do a whole video, literally, and probably will do a whole video, in fact, on action movies and how to convert them into video games. So roleplay games. Although video games are also quite a good source. So yeah, action movies is a genre that's interests you. Check out Feng Shui, especially if you're interested in things like, say, you know, East Asian cinema. If you found this informative, then as always, feel free to hit the subscribe button, give it the old thumbs up, and you can of course follow me on social media. All the links will be below, and I will see you guys soon.